This week on CrunchWeek, Uber's back in court. Should drivers remain contractors or become employees? 64,000 workers just got a payout for not being poached? And lots to expect from Apple next week.
All right, so we have some developments in the Uber trial. What's going on?
Yeah, so basically the lawsuit is moving forward as a class action suit. And just, I guess, to back up a little bit, there were 3 Uber drivers in California that sued Uber because, and the lawsuit is over whether these drivers should be treated as employees versus contractors.
And so that would mean that they would be able to basically expense parts of their parts of their driving, right? Like gas.
Exactly, gas, like car maintenance, and also another element of the lawsuit is around tips, because Uber tells consumers that they have the option to give tips to their drivers, but then these drivers are saying that they have not seen any of these tips. So that's another huge element in this case.
Yeah, I guess the big part is the class action part, right? Because they have how many I don't know, 10, 20, 30,000 drivers.
160,000 drivers in California.
Whew, wow, really?
Right, but...
but California is where the class action is taking place.
Correct,
right? Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yes, but it looks like that in this class action suit, only about 15,000 people, both former and current drivers, will be eligible in the class action suit. So it's not going to be as big as the 3 original people wanted it to be.
This is a continuation of this lawsuit goes way, way, way back though, right? Originally, this has been an argument over whether Uber drivers are 1099 contractors or full-time employees, and we've seen a lot of on-demand companies switch their employees over to full-time employees. I think Ship is one of them.
Yeah, Ship is one. Sprig is in the process of doing that. They had an announcement about a month ago. Munchery has been doing it for a while now. So yeah, that seems to be the trend. It's as if they're worried or concerned that it will eventually be the law that they have to actually employ their workers, so they're just kind of getting ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean, a class action of that size is big news. Anything they're going to push for, I mean, if they're trying to get 3 or 4 things, you got to imagine they're going to at least get one of them.
I mean, it's one thing for a company like Ship or Instacart or something like that to make their employees full-time, but we're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of drivers.
It'd be very expensive for Uber to do this.
People wonder why Uber raises so much money. I mean, there's a lot of litigation they're dealing with. There's a lot of, DC stuff, so...
what they're worth $50-something billion
I don't even know anymore. It just
keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. And up. Yeah, it's $2 trillion, whatever.
That's I mean, but they have lawyers in place for that. They're prepared for this. I think all the companies are prepared for this.
Do you think that does Uber get to the point where maybe it's 50-50, or maybe it's the point where Uber drivers are employees of Uber? How far do you think this is probably going to go? Because it seems like I said, it seems like this is moving in that direction for a lot of these companies.
Right, but that's the thing, and Uber's lawyers have said this in court, is that some, or what they say is a lot of drivers don't want to be full-time employees.
And we hear that whenever we take Uber.
Right. And and I totally get that, because I mean, just in talking to some Uber drivers, I mean, they're working for Uber and for Lyft and for Postmates. So I guess I just wonder what that would actually look like. Would these people have to pick one company over the other? Because the benefit of being able to work for all these different companies is that
less downtime.
Right. So let's say there's some downtime with Uber, just pop open Lyft. Let's say there's just none of that. Okay, now I'm on Ship or something. So I actually see, even though I kind of don't like Uber, I'm kind of on their side. It's I get it. I kind of think that they're right, that these drivers actually do want to be independent contractors.
There's a lot of talk too that there's where this is moving is the creation of a new designation.
Right, even
because right now it's
worker.
you're either full time or you're a contractor, and like you said, these employees are like, well, I have a family, I have school. I don't want to be full time. I don't want to be tied down. So maybe there's a middle designation for these on demand companies that they can, but it's going to take That stuff doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
This isn't the only lawsuit that's had some developments this week, though.
Uh-huh.
Now we have another one that goes way, way, way even further back than the Uber lawsuit, right?
Right.
So this is the anti-poaching lawsuit between some of the biggest companies in Silicon Valley, right?
Right. It includes Google, Apple. There's a third.
Can
Like
you-
not
so
Facebook though,
fascinating.
because Facebook refused to
Facebook
be a
didn't
part
get
of
involved.
this.
No, I mean it all started with like what, a series of emails.
I think
between
Oracle
Eric,
was involved originally.
Yeah,
right?
it was like Eric Schmidt and Steve Jobs, and they were like, "You don't take my employees, I don't take your employees. If you do, then we're going to come after you. We'll go nuclear and take them all." And of course, those emails surface, and then we have this.
Emails
lawsuit.
always surface.
Of course they do. Anything on written on the record. So yeah, that wasn't good for employees. So the lawsuit settled. I don't know. What are the details?
It was
415
410
something
million,
million, yeah.
$1 million settlement.
Right.
But that amounts to very little
For
for
each
individual
person, yeah.
employees. So it's more of this settlement just kind of represents that it was the right thing to do, but from an economical standpoint,
it's a warning. Don't do this kind of shit. Again.
right.
I mean, that's how these lawsuits usually end up, right? It's just like, right?
Right.
Do not do that again.
Well, I mean, a big part of Silicon Valley is the fact that people can jump from job to job. I mean,
Right.
we're in California. There are no law. I mean, somebody can leave Facebook today and go to Google tomorrow. Of course, they're not supposed to share secrets, but that kind of knowledge sharing is what Silicon Valley is all about. So a lot of people thought that this, what was, they were colluding to do with kind of, well, it turned out it wasn't right. They got nailed for it. They paid out some money and probably won't happen again.
I mean, this also stems back to just the crazy competition there is for good engineers,
Right.
good product people in Silicon Valley, and that everyone is just sort of being constantly recruited by everyone, constantly being
Right.
poached by everyone, and salaries go up and up and up and up and up. And so, these kinds of secret handshake agreements benefit the companies maybe.
Right, but not the
Right.
employees.
Right.
Because who knows what they could have negotiated if they were allowed to, jump ship to another company. So.
Well, so we know that Apple has some of the best engineers, right? And so now we have a lot of potential Apple products coming out in the next week, right?
Yeah.
Your
September
transitions are
9th.
really awesome.
Yeah, you're just on point.
Well, I got to keep you guys moving a little
good.
bit. So, all right. So Apple, what do we got coming? So what is it?
Apparently
next Thursday?
everything.
Yeah, new iPads, TVs,
Remember when Apple had
iPhones.
secrets and they were when was
Yeah, until Mark Gurman came along.
Yeah,
and then there were no more
Right,
secrets.
yeah.
He's what, 12 years old? I mean,
think maybe 19.
ever since he was born, they've had problems. No, I mean, it sounds like they're going to refresh the whole thing. We've got
Right.
new iPhones, we've got iPads, like you mentioned.
Right.
We hear new iMac.
Yeah, watch software. I
Yeah,
believe.
sure. Pretty much
Yeah.
everything. Are
I
you
do,
excited
of
for some new
course I
watch
do.
software?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I could, yeah.
But this is
Need some more excitement.
interesting because Apple regularly refreshes these new products, but Apple's in an interesting spot right now, right?
Oh, Apple
Because-
TV too, I forgot.
Oh yeah, the Apple TV. Oh man.
They've been talking about this
is a lot
for
of
so many years. I
Right.
mean, isn't it already out? I mean, honestly, okay. What is that? What is that little box thing? Isn't that not the Apple TV?
That is the Apple TV,
That's the Apple
and
TV,
we've heard tons of stuff coming out. I mean, Matt Panzarino actually reported that it's going to have like sort of Wii-like capabilities.
Never
and then
heard of him. I don't trust
well,
that guy.
yeah.
Fuck that guy.
And then you're talking about making this like an actual gaming console that's going to be competing with things.
It is peak Apple. They created a Twitter
Yeah.
account the other day, Apple Games. I mean, there are plenty of games,
Yeah.
apps you
Yep.
can download,
Yep.
but they create a Twitter account and then, oh my God, it's happening. The games are coming to Apple TV. But yeah, we're gonna be busy next week. So
Yeah.
But again, Apple's in an interesting spot, right? Because there's some questions about how well they're going to be doing in China, right? With the sort of that economy, it's slowing down a little bit, right? Maybe the demand for that, and there's obviously a ton of competition. Xiaomi being the biggest one, which is making great phones at much less the price of an iPhone,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So they've got to come out with something crazy, and we've heard that the iPhone's going to get a big refresh and then Force Touch.
Yeah, it's going to have
right?
the Force Touch,
Which
similar
is
to
on
what
the watch.
the Apple Watch
So how
has.
does that work?
I mean, it's really not a big deal. You just
We're being honest.
You just kind of like,
This
you
is
just
going to be
hold
revolutionary,
down-
but it's not that big of a deal.
You just hold down on the screen for maybe 2 seconds, and then it has some other functionality.
Right.
But
So increased
I don't, on a
potential
daily
for
basis,
gestures.
I might use Force Touch maybe once a week on my watch, if even that. I don't really see what the big deal is.
I'd be lucky if I
I guess
use my
it's
watch
cool,
once
new
a week.
technology.
I don't.
Yeah. So we got new iPads, new Apple TV, new phones, new Apple Watch
We
software.
think. This is all rumored at this
yeah, this is
point.
all
Right.
rumored. Right. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
We'll have fun talking about that
yeah,
next week.
yeah. All right. That's a whole 45-minute segment.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone.